Welcome to Nerf and Turf. I'm Andrew, and today we're doing a live stream of painting a Nerf blaster. So this is a Nerf Rebel blaster, and I'll give more details on that in a minute. But first, I'm going to grab some of my supplies, and we're also going to start by stripping down the blaster before we paint it, because that's what you do. So, ciao. Let me grab my stuff. So over here I have all my painting supplies set up. We're going to be using a black primer today. Use my smoky beige. We'll eventually get the finish, but that's all we're going to need for this moment. And so far I'm by myself and no one else is watching, and that's cool because I like working with blasters. Had a rough day, so I'm just excited to work on blasters today. Need this. Cool. Okay, so first I'm going to do a more finished sanding job after I've taken it apart, but I'm going to go ahead and sand it while it's all together right now because that just makes that easier. So our wonderful Nerf Rebel blaster is slowly losing its beautiful, interesting painting job. It's just an odd blaster series, but they've got really cool. I don't know, they've got a really cool feel to them, the way they look. But the painting jobs are just bizarre. A little bit sexist, just a little bit. So it's basically just going to be me painting a blaster and working on it because that's fun. Hey, there's somebody watching. That's great. I'm not by myself anymore. Hi, random person who's watching. Who do I have watching with me right this moment? Because I'm not alone anymore. That's great. So if you're just joining, I'm starting by sanding off my blaster. I'm going to do a more official sand once I've taken it apart, but I'm just going to start by sanding it while it's there. Because you got to sand it down before you can paint it, because, oh, how's it going, dude? Because generally the paint's just not going to stick to the plastic the way it is unless it's sanded well. Actually, I need that with me. Hey, I got like 2 dudes. What's up, dude? Just sanding off the blaster. I'm going to do a more official job here in a minute, but I'm just getting a basic sanding on it. So, can we start by saying this Rebel blaster has some issues? The Rebel, excuse me, not Rebel. Man, I mean, just to start it off, it just feels like such a sexist paint job where, yes, it does. It looks like a leg. When I first showed it to my wife, she literally looked at me and said, it looks like a porcelain leg. It's just weird looking. But I mean, on top of that, it's just like a sexist paint job. They did it all in pink, and all the advertisements they did for these blasters were girls with a lot of makeup holding pink blasters. And I was like, no, girls can use normal blasters too, right? The cha-cha. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start by unscrewing it. Wait a second. All right, so we're just going to start off by unscrewing it. So I've got some ideas already set out for the color scheme I'm going with. I'm going to start with a black vinyl dye, and then I'm planning to make most of it black, actually, and then accent it with the smoky beige that I have. That way, because I don't want a fully black blaster, because that could look like a firearm and that could get me shot. But I also like the idea of a black blaster with the metal finish on it. So let me know what you think, if that sounds like a good idea to you, or if you're like, hey, no, it needs bright colors. So, I mean, I've also thought about putting a brightly colored stripe on it, but I'm not 100% sure on that yet. So let me know. Officer dropped the leg. I really want to see that that sight in a public park. The officer running up, calling, okay, we've got an individual, brown hair, medium height, and he's holding a leg. I feel like that would be a very interesting call by the police officer if you ran into me using this in a park. Yeah, but I've got the Nerf war that I finally posted about that I'm planning to do on the 26th, which I'm really excited about. I just walked there. I just walked my dogs there with my wife today. And so we're just scouting it out again, walking the dogs, getting some exercise. And I think the park's going to work. It's not the most tree-filled park, but it's got enough trees that you can set it up diagonally, and it's pretty fun. Ooh, maybe that's where I need to go. Summit Racing. Ooh, that's the one on like 20 and almost a 360, but not quite. The place that popped up overnight that has all the nice cars. Is that what you're talking about with the Summit Racing? Has a good selection of good, cheap vinyl dye. And that's where I'll be going next then. Thank you. Yeah, I'll definitely need to go there then. Summit Racing. Okay, that's where I'm heading next. But yeah, I haven't done too many Nerf wars in the park before, mainly because, you know, my friends that were police officers, my friends that were like really safety conscious, always freaked out because they were like, "Oh, the cop's gonna shoot you." But I called the Parks and Rec services, called the city of Arlington, and talked with them, and they were like, "No, as long as you don't have like 50 people, you should be fine." And even if we had 50 people, we would just have to call them the day of and say, "Hey, there's going to be people running around with plastic. Don't get too upset." Or in this case, yes, there will be people running around with a painted leg. Don't get upset and shoot them. So that's the hope. So what I normally do is I've unscrewed everything. I haven't taken any of the screws out. But generally what I do then is I take all the parts, and I get like a Tupperware tub like this. I just put all the parts in there, including all the screws. That way you can't really lose them if they're all in one place. That's kind of the fun part with that. Sorry, that probably just killed the audio, but you'll get over it. Smiley face. So what? I've got Let It Freeze and Rockbone 11. Are you guys thinking about coming to that war on the 26th? Awaiting response with bated breath. Sweet. Sweet. Because I know Caden Let's Freeze it, whatever that is. I know he lives in Arlington. Do you live in Arlington as well, Rockbone? So this part, honestly, I believe it's just a part of the crossbow. Let me grab that. Oh, sweet. That's perfect. Because I know I'm a youth leader at my church, so I've got a bunch of my kids from that coming to it. And then I've got some other friends that I play Nerf with every once in a while. I think Clark Hamilton's coming. Anyway, this was the original crossbow arm that would fit on the blaster. Oh, I just dropped like everything. And it served no purpose. And so I untied it. I can tie it back on if I want, but it served no purpose. It just made the blaster wide. And I just feel like when I look at the blaster with a very slim profile, it looks like a submachine gun. So that's kind of the look I'm going for as I paint it. So I've got the tack rail here with the spring and everything, so don't want to lose that. So I'll put that in there. All right, I got the trigger set up. How does it fit on the railing? The crossbow, I'm assuming you're talking about. Where was the part? So it had this very interesting part here that fit right here on the top of each of the different pieces. And it's got like a pressure fit system that when this is on top of it, it pops into place. And then you have to like squeeze. Let me try to explain it. So it's got that part and try to piece it back together. All right, so Caden asked if, Let's Freeze It asked, how does it fit on the railing? So it's got this white piece in here. That's like a pressure fit piece. And so you kind of snap it on like that, the way it fits onto that. And so it snaps on, and then you just kind of, and so it's like this. And it just looks ridiculous. I mean, I'm all for the crossbow aesthetic, but this looks ridiculous. And yes, it does look like a leg even more now. That's fantastic. But that's why I'm not planning to put it on, just because it doesn't look good, in my opinion. I know that's just my opinion, but it just looks ridiculous without it there. Oh, and it also had this little setup with a hole in it, and that's where the rope on the crossbow arm would go through. Now I want to make an overly huge one. I know the, what was it? The Nerf crossbolt. I loved that one because that one was actually string powered, and it still fed with magazines, and you could upgrade it with stronger string, and you could get it to shoot, not hard, but you could get it to shoot, and it was pretty cool. No, but if you made a giant crossbow arm for me, Let's Freeze It, and I could throw that on top of this, that would be awesome. But for now, I'm trying to figure out how to get this apart because, okay, this whole system's bolted in. So my plan is not to paint moving parts such as the trigger. You can buy rockets on Amazon too. Oh yeah, the rockets for the blazing bow. That's probably where I need to get those because I want to actually use that blazing bow and take the ridiculous PVC off that I put on because it doesn't work. And I want something that shoots rockets. Okay, so the plan is to not paint any of the moving parts, except I'm going to be painting the handle, but I won't be painting the trigger, and I won't be painting the turret. Also because I want it to have some form of bright, ridiculous colors on it, so it's very obvious that it's not a real firearm. Because I don't really have orange, and this part has a little bit of orange on it. That doesn't really work, but hoping it looks ridiculous enough with a pink barrel in it. So trying to work on that. Okay, but now I just got to unscrew all these mounts in here. I have fluorescent. Just paint the blaster fluorescent green just so you can tell the cops, hey, it's not real, just in case you somehow thought this was. That would be fantastic. But the plan right now is to make it more of a submachine gun style. And so I'm going to be using the black paint and then my satin smoky beige, which looks really sweet. It matches the helmet you were working on? Yes. Because I've got to get you your shields back that I still have at my house here. Okay, let's see. Okay, we got the whole plunger tube. So it's the whole setup's like integrated together, and it doesn't really come apart. So I don't plan to take it apart because, yeah. Well, it's a sidearm, and I don't really plan to put a bigger spring in it or anything. So I'm really just doing a cosmetic mod today because it's just an interesting system. It's very similar to like the Maverick or the Strong Arm system, but I don't want to mess with it too much today. Yeah, and my goal is to not paint any of that anyway, so I don't feel the need to take any of this stuff apart. So right now I just got to find all the parts I plan to paint. Going to keep the pink tip because that's going to look kind of silly, and I kind of like that. Kind of a silly person sometimes. Cool, so blaster's officially taken apart, and that's sweet and all. And so now I'm going to finish sanding it down. So the real question is, it needs a name. Like, it would be a ridiculous blaster if I painted it and didn't give it a name. So we have to find a name for it, and it can't be a terrible name. It has to be like a really, like, wow, that's a perfect name. The Leg. That's Frieza just suggested the Leg as the name, and that's actually pretty brilliant. I'll think about that. That's great, man. So I have to wonder how bad the audio is with this fantastic scraping sound. Because the thing is, if you paint it without sanding it down, what happens is that the paint doesn't bond to the plastic, although it says it will. It just won't. The specific finish that Nerf puts on most all of their blasters resist the new paint. And so what happens is you need to sand it to take off that initial layer. So then you can get the paint on it. Pretty simple. And then I usually finish it off with a matte clear enamel just to protect the paint. Some people like glossy paint or a glossy finish. I like the matte. What's your opinion? It's going to look a lot nicer after it's painted. Oh, no, this blaster's going to look a lot nicer after it's finished. Yes, it will. Because it's such a sexist paint job where they just made it look girly and stuff. And I don't feel like that was necessary because there's plenty of girls that use the normal blasters. They don't need a specific girl blaster. It's not like they have a specific blaster that says for boys. So I find that ridiculous. Very similarly to the whole Boy Scout issue that recently came up. But that's a totally other topic, and I have different opinions on it, where they're now allowing young ladies in Boy Scouts, which is great for them because it's a fantastic program that I was a part of for most of my life now. But now they're doing it so girls in it too, but they're in a different troop than the boys. And so that works, as long as they're not smashed in the same troop. I feel like it's an important thing for the young men and the young women to grow without that whole intergender thing, because everyone's awkward in junior high. Let's just face it. Junior high was a sad part of my life where I was even more awkward than I am right now. What grit am I using? Is it bad? I don't know. I've got a fine scuffing. I have a P220. No, it's not the type I want to use or the type I should be using, but it's what I have. The biggest part is I'm married and I'm broke, so I can't run to Aces often as I want to pick up all the hardware I want for these blasters. So I'm really just making do with this. And oh, that's what you use as well. Okay, cool. In a perfect world, I would use a Dremel on this. Yes, it is very much so the college student problem. College student who's recently married with 2 dogs. I'm living off the thrift store now for blasters. I don't plan to buy a brand new blaster in a long time. No, but if I had a Dremel, I would definitely be using that instead, and just using a very low power on it, just to, especially to get, I really want to get the Nerf Rebel logo off because it's like sticking out of the blaster, and that's just going to look weird after it's painted. So I've been realizing razor scraper. Actually, I hadn't thought about that. I have a straight edge over there. I could probably use that to get off the indented part. Might think about that. So I've been realizing recently that I need to work out more, just because, you know, working out isn't mandatory, but it's nice. You feel healthier when you do it. And so my wife and I were talking about that. So we walked our dogs today, and that's a workout because they're both puppies, and so they're pulling like crazy. My dog's a little more trained, but my wife's dog, I'm just now trying to train it. But I was like, okay, that was kind of a workout. And then today in class, we were doing some ER prep. And so we were doing a whole lot of CPR code blue type scenarios. And so I was doing CPR most of the day. And near the end of that, I was like, okay, yeah, this is a workout. I'll call this a workout. But I legitimately need to start working out so that I can sand my blasters even faster with even more power and precision. And I'm just randomly talking now. But that's the fun part of life. Okay, so that's not complete, but I'm going to move on to the other one. Oh, yeah, it can get tiring. We were running code blue sets today, you know, for you're in the hospital and you walk in, your patient's coded. So calling the code, doing CPR until aid gets there with the AED. And then we ran that for quite a while. And, man, we were switching off quite a bit because it starts to hurt after a while. And then we had the really cool part of that training was we had machines with us that were I'll get to your question in a second. We had machines with us while we were doing the CPR today that was measuring how deep we were pressing, how our rate and rhythm and that kind of thing while we were pressing. And so it was a really cool software we worked with today, just because you got like results and you had people watching it, letting you know how well your CPR was doing, how good your compressions were, your rate, rhythm. That was really sweet. So Rockbone asked, how long does it normally take to edit a video? It's a great question. It takes a while. Let's see, the first two videos I did, those took forever, just because I hadn't worked with editing stuff in a long time. And so I was sitting there trying to figure out how to make things work, how to get my audio to match, I'm just using the onboard audio on my camera. I haven't moved up to like a nice microphone yet. I'm planning to do that soon. I just wanted to get a rhythm of how I did my videos first. But generally it takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to edit a video. Just because I put a lot of detail work into when I edit. When I edit the video, I usually drop all the major clips in, and then I just get the whole picture of what I want. And then once I've done that, I'm able to get into the nitty gritty and go by like millisecond by millisecond and cut things that I don't want. Because my goal is to not waste your time too much with my YouTube videos. I know this is a live stream, so it's going to take a while. But normally when I make my videos, I don't like to waste people's time with random pauses or random me making weird sounds, because I make a lot of those. And so I edit all that out because I want the actual video to be as streamlined and to the point as possible. So I spend about 2 hours editing the videos. They're not long videos, but what was it? The Commander water bottle one, that one took forever to edit because I had another person there. So I was working on camera angles. We probably, we took different angles and shots from each scene. And so every time we would do one scene, we would film it from about 3 or 4 different angles. And so, and then we would run that scene itself probably 5 and 6 times. That way I could get the best scene possible, the best angles, so I could mix all that together. And it actually felt like a movie by the end of it. So I had so much fun with that one. That one took me probably close to 2.5 to 3 hours. Just because I'm working down to the millisecond, getting everything where I want it. And then you mix the audio, and then you're working with the color match. And then it's a lot of work, but I love the editing process, because I know there's some people that when they make their videos, they simply make the video and throw it on. And that works for some people. Some people love that. I'm not going to say that's a lazy way to do it, because that's a way some people legitimately enjoy making their videos. But I like the close edits, not because I want it to be perfect, but because I don't want to waste people's time. I want to get straight to the point. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. Does that answer your question, Rockbone11? And then Let's Freeze It said Amazon shotguns for $15 to $50. Yeah, I really, I need to get that. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Because I've edited stuff in the past, and my dad's really good at editing things. And so, but I'm just starting to get into the editing constantly. And Caden, your suggestion on the microphone, the biggest reason I haven't done that is, I'm right now just trying to mass produce videos, if that makes sense. And so I'm not focused on quality as much, and that sounds kind of terrible, but I'm kind of focused on getting as many videos out, because I want the practice. So the more videos I make, the more I know how long it took me to film it, how long it took me to edit it. I'm also learning what video types I enjoy making the most, because, for example, the review ones I made, that probably takes 30 minutes to film the whole thing. And then probably 30 minutes to an hour editing it. Whereas the Commander water bottle took 3 hours to film and about 3 hours to edit as well. Hey, whatever it is, it's working. Sweet, man. But I do plan to upgrade mics, because at first my thought was, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm still messing around. And so I didn't want to put a lot of money into it if, I made 2 videos and realized, wow, I suck at editing. Wow, I suck at making videos. And then I didn't really want to do that and waste money like that. So right now I'm doing it in the cheapest way possible, making my videos. And then the plan is that once I get to a point where I'm like, hey, I am enjoying this enough that I'll be keeping this up, and I see it as valuable to get a camera, and then I'll be getting it. But no, I do need to check out Amazon for more cameras. Cool. So now that I've more or less sanded it, I like to put it back together and just sand over the joints. Just so it looks somewhat even when you're painting it. Also, whenever I'm adding detail work to the blaster later on, I'm going to need to put it together when I'm doing the detail work, because otherwise the 2 sides look totally different. I've accidentally done that with some of the blasters I worked on in the past. Ooh. All right, let's freeze it. We're going to go to the question you mentioned the other day that had to be hit at some point today. What is the greatest Pokemon of all time? I feel like that's the most important question we face today in our society. I mean, no, the second most important question. The most important question is Jesus Christ, who he says he is. Second most important question is, who is the most valuable Pokemon to history? And I feel like that's a pretty intense question there. I've got my opinions. Other people have their opinions, but I know mine's correct. Shiny Ditto. I mean, yeah, that might be pretty valuable to Pokemon history. Shiny Ditto. Yet a Mew is just a Ditto. I don't know if you knew that random factoid, but a Mew is or a Ditto is a genetically failed Mew when they were trying to make Mew, because they're the only two Pokemon that know the attack transform. Magic. I still remember as a kid playing Pokemon Blue on my little Game Boy Color, and I'm playing it and buying the magic carp at the beginning of the game because I didn't know any better. And the fisherman's like, "Hey, I've got the best Pokemon in the world. I'm going to give to you." And you pay all the money you've earned in the game at that point, and it gives you a crappy magic carp that doesn't do anything for you until the end of the game when you finally evolve it. But my favorite Pokemon is Totodile. Not because he's the best, not because he's the most important to history, but because I love him. That salesman got me. But Totodile, I've got a plush, and I keep him in my car with me. And he used to, I originally got him because he was my hiking buddy. Whenever I went hiking in the mountains, I would keep him with me, and he was my totem is what I called him. So he was the thing I hiked with me to remind me of my family back home, even when I would be on the trail for a couple months at a time. So, yeah. And Caden, I loved your comment about the Texans thing. Because, yes, I am a Texan, and yes, we are Cowboys here, but there's more Cowboys in New Mexico. They're real Cowboys. So, fact. Bayleaf, yes! I really just love the fact that Bayleaf in the anime had the biggest crush on Ash of all time. It was the cutest thing that little Bayleaf just hugged him all the time. Ugh. It's really just getting these logos off is the hardest part. Come on, Nerf, as Aaron Esther would say. But then the real question when it comes to Pokemon is what really started it all. Was it Pokemon or was it Digimon? Yes, Chimecho! He was the best. I loved him. I still remember when he first came out in the Hoenn region. Oh, he was great. But no, the question, Digimon or Pokemon? Because, the real nerds, well, let's face it, there's only a couple of us real nerds that actually liked Digimon. Everyone else makes fun of it. But man, I love Digimon. Pokemon is better. Yes, that is the correct answer, my friend. But man, Digimon was great. It was a fun experience. I don't know. It was weird. But Pokemon is better in every possible way. That is the correct answer. Give me a second. Cool. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Change into digital champions to change the digital world. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. I think it was a couple years ago when they released a Digimon game on the DS, and I went out and bought it. And it's the weirdest game, but I loved it because all the Digimon were in it, and you could digivolve them, and it had the same thing where one Digimon digivolved into 20 billion Digimon, and it's so weird. So much fun though. No, I even had growing up, my older brother and I, we even had the Digivices that you would use to and you would scan things, and you could it was almost like a Tamagotchi, is that what they are? I don't know, the things that always died and people always cried. It was like one of those, but for Digimon, and it was hilarious. My brother and I used it all the time. Sorry, my real nerd's coming out now. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Yes, those things were so much fun. I think my brother and I, we had different ones. Maybe he only had, I don't remember. Digimon Go! And then they made the weird one a couple years back, or I mean, I say a couple years back, a couple years afterwards, that was like the Digimon worked by turning into, or like the person combined with their Digimon. It was weird. And so they did that in real life, and that's all they did. They never really went to the digital world. And I was watching it going, but this isn't Digimon. This is like, almost like Mega Man, when they did the thing where Mega Man and Land turn into the same person. Sorry, I am just speaking nerd at this point. My bad. Those games were my jam. All the Digimon games, all the Mega Man games. Man, we have these super sweet Rebel logos on the handles too, so I'm killing those. So it's just the two of us. I think it's just one of us now? Okay. At one point we had 3 people and then they disappeared. So I'll survive. Welp, it's just us. So how's it going, kid? You making it? If I remember correctly, are you done with school already? Ooh, yeah. So my power was totally fine after the storm, but I heard other people were losing their power in internet and that kind of thing. So that's weird, man. Yes, but you are done with school. That's a good thing to hear, Kate. Glad about that. I think I had 3 finals this week and 2 more next week. Because nursing school doesn't know what dead week means. So we always have exams. It's great. Okay. It actually is great. I love where I am. Very blessed man to be where I am. Okay. That's just about done. Now just the other random pieces. So there was a 3rd person that joined us. Am I correct? And then they took one look at me and went, "Oh, he's making faces," and left. Which, I mean, in all honesty, I might do the same. I make a lot of weird faces. And maybe this is somewhat boring, and that's okay. What college do you go to? I go to UTA, the University of Texas in Arlington. I went to TCC for a while because TCC academic beasts we are. So I went to TCC for a while to get my basics and to go to college without being in debt. And so I did that, and then I went to UTA because it's decently cheap, and they have the best nursing program in the state. Opinionated, yes, but it's a great nursing program. Sorry, just getting the paint off of that. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm at UTA, finishing off my clinicals in the hospitals to get my degree, because that degree is very important. Not the most important thing, but it's important. I'm glad you're having a blast. Let's freeze it. I appreciate that. Nah, but today was a pretty rough day for me. I had 20 billion assignments that I was trying to turn in, and somehow most of them weren't getting accepted onto my Blackboard. And so that was pretty nerve-wracking. But I think I got it all done. Everything's turned in, and I'm hopefully going to pass this semester. Yeah, but Rock, when you made a comment about school, I think I answered your question. And you mentioned earlier college student problems. So are you a college student as well? Okay, almost done. Just got to sand the handles now, wipe everything down, and then we'll start the spray painting part. That's awesome, man. Hey, and there's nothing wrong with getting your basics. Because I have friends that they made the decision of going to a really big university, and that's great, and they loved it. But I don't know, you can get the same basics at a community college for a lot less, and then you just finish it off at a university. And so bravo to you. That's really cool. It's really cool. No, college is not cheap, because it used to be. It legitimately did. When I talked to people that graduated forever ago, that actually went to the big schools, it's because the big schools costed just about as much as community college does nowadays, and it's ridiculous once they actually look at the prices. Adults that tease millennials every once in a while for not going to a major university look at prices and go, "Oh crap." You're in school forever when you do that. And yes, yeah, you'd be in debt for the rest of your life if you do that. So I try to do it the simplest, cheapest way possible. That way, I think my wife and I, because we both did the same route. And so we've talked about how, now we can actually travel and we can actually go to cool places. And yeah, we're really blessed enough. Lord's given us so much in that. So that's really cool. Oh, and Let's Freeze It. You mentioned that you were doing a paint mod at the moment when I was talking to you earlier. Is that still happening? The triad, you say? So I've never actually owned a triad. That's the one that you had at my house the other day when we were playing, right? It's basically a Jolt with 3 parts to it and smart ARs and stuff. It's much fun, yes. Because the thing is, I love the way a Jolt hits. So many people make Jolt jokes, but the Jolts and the Jolt reskins, those are some of my favorite blasters. Just because they actually get a good pop. I think they hit, well, most of the people that chrono those, they're going about 50 feet per second, most of them say. I don't know if I believe that, because those, well, I guess it depends on how new it is too. A brand new Jolt, those things pop. Because when I got mine, it was hitting harder than most of my spring blasters. Just because it's a very simple, straight to the point plunger system. That does a great job. Getting there. No, and I've used the same thing of sandpaper for I don't know how long because, it still works. Just dust some of the paint off and it's still got enough grit on it to keep it going. They're really easy to mod and paint too. So I haven't done a Jolt mod before. I've taken it apart and worked on it. I mean, I've taken the dart post out of it so that you can shoot the slugs through it and either get a really accurate slug shot or even shotgun it. And that's always fun too. But I hadn't taken it apart and modded it too much yet. I know, what's his name? Captain Xavier. He's done some funny mods with Jolts where he's put on the stock attachments and a barrel attachment to a Jolt, and that was pretty funny. Because in Jared's Epic Nerf War this year, they had a Jolts only battle. That was pretty fun. Just have 4,000 people running around with Jolts. Ooh. I'll bet a steampunk Jolt would be cool. I think I've seen some of those, yeah. Also, my doggies are inside today because it's it's muddy and they get muddy. And also they've been silly doggies today, especially the new one. He came home today, or at one point I was doing homework in the house and I turned around, he was chewing a hole through my Choco, and that was a sad moment in my life. My Choco had a tear in it. Still wearable, but that was really sad. I live in my Chacos. And then what happened? And then he broke a blind in the house today. He chewed up a pillow and some food mix in the pantry a couple days ago. So house training puppies, that's always fun. Sweetest puppy in the world, but he's a mess. Hey, how's it going, baby? How are you? I've got 2 people watching. I've got the young Prim, and then another guy, Rocco, 11. So they're both watching. My wife is here. I don't know if she wants to be on camera for the 2 seconds. You can just poke your head in. This is my wife. She's really pretty. She's really cool. I like her a lot. But she got me a burger because she's really cool. I love you.
Whistler got into cleaning supplies underneath the sink, and I'll clean it up.
Did he spread things all over the place?
I don't know. There's something that's spilled. I haven't figured it out yet.
Okay, let's make sure he's not poisoned and dies.
No, I'll take care of it.
Okay, you sure?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Don't know if you heard that, but...
Oh, and I found a coupon, and so there's another burger for you tomorrow.
You're so cool. Thank
Always
you,
good
baby.
coupons.
Okay. Thank you, dear. My wife's the best. She's a fantastic, kind, godly woman who brought me a burger and a milkshake. But what she just informed me was that, again, the puppy, he just got into cleaning supplies in the kitchen. So hopefully he's not sick and vomiting everywhere. Taking care of puppies, man, they're crazy. They're so cute, but they're so ridiculous. But yes, wife goals. I waited a long time to get that one. Worked really hard to get her. She's a fantastic woman. Way out of my league, way out of my league. But she's cool. All right. So we're going to start the painting process, and then I will devour that burger so fast. Okay. So the plan is we're going to be leaving this end. We're going to be leaving the trigger, and we're going to be leaving the pink tip because those are all the moving parts that I want to keep well lubricated, because when you put paint on it, they get a little thicker. And then when you try to shoot it, when you try to prime it, it just doesn't work. And so this is going to be the catch. I'm going to paint this, and I'm probably going to have to then sand the inside of these to make sure they still have a snug fit on the pump action there. But in the blaster as well, you generally have to paint the inside in case extra residue got stuck in it. That way it still all fits together. When you screw it together, it's going to pull it all together anyway. But for the parts that, the moving parts like the barrel, let's see. Because on my Maverick, this was one of my early paint jobs. It's a textured paint. And so because of that, the parts didn't fit together quite properly because it was such a thick paint, and it added about 1 millimeter to the blaster thickness. So on the inside, I had to sand that down. But with this moving barrel, it's not that tight of a fit, as you can see, because Mavericks. And so it was fine painting that barrel. But with this barrel, it barely fits in there. And so I don't really want to paint that at all, because that's a mess. Okay. All right, so generally with this, I like to paint the inside first and just do a really light basic black coat on the inside, because nothing looks worse than when you see a painted blaster and you can still see the original color underneath, so like a white underneath on the inside frame. So I always like to put a nice little black coating on that. So I generally just keep a bunch of cardboard that I use and reuse and use again for my projects. And so, yeah. So my original plan, and I'm still planning to stick to it, is that the main blaster is going to end up being black. And then the handle, and then basically all the other accessories, those are going to be painted the smoky beige color. And so I feel like that will give it a nice fun look, where it's black, but it's got enough accent colors to it. And then the pink barrel, of course, ties it all together and makes it look just ridiculous. But it looks less ridiculous than the original blaster. Don't let the fumes kill you. Oh, but that's the fun part. That's why I keep the door open. It is now. That was my light. It is a ventilated shed, and I usually turn my fan on to blow all that out. The fumes haven't killed me yet, believe it or not. They've tried to. Yes, it is a conspiracy. The fumes are trying to kill me. Fact. So no, I don't have proper spray paint etiquette. People have told me about 20 billion different or better ways to paint, and I agree that there's probably better ways to paint, but I do this. You love my shoes? Thank you. They're my tennis playing shoes, because I think these were, when I got these, they were the kind Rafa Nadal used, and tennis players, they act very serious on the court, but their shoes are always ridiculous. And I used to play a whole lot of tennis in high school and early college, but nursing school kind of took away my tennis time. But thank you. They are pretty fantastic shoes. Yeah. So as I said a minute ago, that's just the first pass. The goal is not to make it look perfect right now. I just want to generally get a black coat on the middle. I'm going to put another one of these in a couple seconds. It's light enough so I can throw another one on. Yeah, because the main goal is that you don't look at it and you can like see 5 different colors on the inside. But it doesn't have to look pristine either, because no one's looking at the inside of a blaster too often. There's words. Caden's leaving me forever. Okay. So my wife just told me my puppies, when they one of them ate the Windex, one of them ate our grease jar. So they're a little ridiculous. Where did I learn to mod blasters? Interesting story. I got sick last school semester. I had a migraine for 7 straight weeks. Still don't know why. But during that time, I was in a dark, all I could do was sit in a dark room and kind of play video games without hurt my head. And so I just had like 5 or 6 Nerf blasters, and I started taking them apart, tinkering, and then I realized that was the one thing I could do that didn't give my headache or make my migraine any worse. So I just started modding. I then watched a lot of YouTube videos, and those didn't hurt my head either for some reason. But I watched a lot of Coop772. He's got some really great general advice for that. Him and Drac. I like a lot of their mods. They're not my favorite mods in the world, but I like a lot of their ideas. And I watched a couple of their videos and then just kind of started experimenting. So some of my paint jobs are horrendous. Some of my modification jobs are just terrible because it was me messing around just trying to figure out what to do with it. But I'm now at the point where, not like I feel like I'm doing my own type of mods, but I feel like I'm enjoying making my own mods. But no, with some influence from like Coop 772 and Lord Draconical. The fun part was I got to meet with them and talk with them at Jared's Epic Nerf Battle 3. I got to talk with Aaron Esser for a while. He doesn't do as many mods, but I got to talk with him. He's really cool. I enjoyed that conversation. But yeah, that's where I got a lot of my inspiration. I just watched some of their videos and then just made it up from there after getting a little inspiration from them. Because I know there's about 200 billion people that are much better at the mods than I am, and that are much better with spray paint and electrics and springs. I know that, and I'm cool with that. I have fun. I have a lot of fun. It's a really good, relaxing hobby for me. Modifying, spending a lot of time in my shed. So I noticed I was spending way too much time playing video games, and this is just a lot more. I don't know. I just feel better when I'm doing this. I'm just throwing my second black coat on the inside. My goal isn't to make it thick, but it's to get a little bit on every part. Man, look at those fumes. What was that? Oh, your internet went out. Gotcha. Cool. So with these, I am planning to paint them the smoky beige, most all of these, but I still plan to put a black primer on it just so it all has the same base coat to begin with those. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm just going to turn my fan on to low. So hopefully that doesn't mess with the audio too much. So I'm usually like sweating in my shed here when I'm working on my blasters just because I don't want to have that fan on. So, yeah. All right, we're going to let the inside dry a little bit, and then we'll flip them over and paint them both black on the outside because the goal is you just want a very nice base coat that's going to actually bond to the plastic. And the difference is on for the ones I bought is that the black paint and primer is that it's a flat black, and so that flat just makes a very nice strong bonding level for the first level, and then all the things you put on top of that will then set really nicely to that, if that makes sense. Because let's see, most of the others are titled like a satin finish. Like the Arctic. That one was a satin finish. Honestly, that was my favorite mod I've ever done. That is like super cool. I just need to find a good stock for it. I've got a Recon stock that I've thought about working on it, but man, the Arctic's fun. I just have to find a stock that's going to work properly with it. All right. If you don't mind, I'm going to begin my dinner because eating's cool. The dank fumes. Oh, food is fantastic. Okay, so, oh yes, Smashburger. I've got like the best wife. It's like a verifiable fact. All right, dear Lord, thank you for today and for food. Thank you for Nerf and the many blessings you bring our way. Thank you for food. Amen. Because food is great. Food is good. Are my puppies okay? Yeah, they should be. You know, dogs have stomachs like garbage cans, basically. the black lab, she only ate some of the grease. As far as I know, grease has never killed a dog. I don't know. It shouldn't even kill a human. It just gives you diarrhea. Sorry, I'm a nurse. I talk about poo. But the other one ate a little bit of Windex, so he should be fine. Man, he's like we haven't even had him for a week, but he's already going through his terrible twos. It's just ridiculous right now. Oh my gosh, the joke. No, I won't be telling that joke on camera. Okay, no, that's not going to happen. It is a beautiful joke, but no, that's not happening. Here, 1 second. I'm going to make clicky, clicky sounds. Eyes is back. No, am I? Am I? Yes, now Eyes is back. So I'm a boring human being, and I get vanilla flavored shakes because I'm a boring human being, and because vanilla tastes fantastic. Fact. I used to think it tasted like nothing. Like, you know how like your whole childhood you believe water has no flavor until you one day realize water has a flavor, but we're just so used to it because it's basically what our body is, and so we taste it all the time. Vanilla has a flavor. All right. Okay, so now we're just going to paint all the outsides of them. Get 1 or 2 coats of black on them. This one's going to be the lightest coat of black on these parts here, because they're going to have the one with the smoky beige I'm about to add to it. Oh, fan. Yeah, I suggest turning fans off before you spray, because then it sprays in your face. I'm not saying I've done that before, but it sucks. I don't like spraying spray paint in my face. So I used to have a really bad habit of globbing the paint on, where it would be so thick that it wouldn't dry for hours. But I'm trying to work on painting more thin. I'm not good at it yet, but usually it involves just shorter strokes, and I'm not good at making the short strokes. Okay, and then we'll just watch that dry, because watching paint dry is fun, right? Having fun yet? I mean, I can move the camera closer so you can see the paint dry super close. So, Nerf or Air Warriors? Real answers in life. Nerf or Air Warriors? I need a good answer to this, kid. Ah, a moth has attacked me. Having fun watching that paint dry? What kind of blasphemy question was that? It's Nerf or nothing, baby. It's the only answer in life. Oh, I now read that. That's brilliant. What kind of blaspheming question was that? That's great. So are we still going with the leg for the name for the blaster? Because it already looks super sleek and super smooth with the black finish. So I feel like it deserves a good name. So what, that young man that asked me to do the painting tutorial isn't even here. The leg of the future. Man, that ties that name together. Mm-hmm. Let's see, just making sure the puppies are still okay. So the hope is that that young man that was asking about the thing isn't even here. But what, the Nerf Central guy. So I'll probably be doing a painting tutorial that's more that'll be very edited. I'll take like a full day or two to film that. Worth it though. Just give a step-by-step tutorial. The leg of the future with the Batman symbol on it. You know, if I had yellow paint, I would think about that. Putting the bat symbol. That would be gold. Mm-hmm. It really does look like the grapple gun. I agree. Okay, so most of it's drying by now. Here, I'll move the computer over with me. As the charger explodes off. So, don't know if you can even really see it all on the camera. But the tops of it's all drying, and I don't know, it's got a very nice matte finish already, especially after the good sanding job. It's just got a really great feel to it. Yeah. Trying to figure out how to get a good angle on it. But yeah, it's all looking pretty good right now. Hair dryer on cold will dry the paint right up. You know, that's very true. Or I could turn the fan on low. But yes, the hair dryer would be better. But we don't own a hair dryer because I don't use it for my luscious locks. I don't think my wife does either. So you can continue to watch paint dry because that's fun. Unless there's a good reason to not use the blower. I guess that would blow the fumes, but I've got it aimed out the door, so hopefully that works. Because watching paint dry, that's entertaining, right? Said no one ever. Because what was it? I watched Adam Savage doing something. Yes, I was literally about to say that. Adam Savage, I've watched him do enough work, and every time it's like paint dry, and it's hilarious because he did a Nerf. It wasn't a long shot; it was the long strike or something like that, and he filmed the whole thing in one day, and it was marvelous to watch him. He's so much fun. No, but it's honestly got a really nice matte finish. Because the thing I like about the Rebel Blasters is that they've got such different smooth textures and looks to them. Yes, the yellow blow dryer. But they've got, because of the smoothness, it just has a really cool aesthetic to it. And I strongly dislike the aesthetic with the pink and purple paint job. And I don't know how many girls like that aesthetic either. But I just feel like any painted Rebel Blaster just has a really sweet look to it. Because, no, I love blocky blasters, too. I mean, I love my Mavericks. Honestly, I might like the look of a Maverick more than a strong arm. Not 100% set on that, but I just like the blocky look. It just looks very much like a hand cannon from Destiny or something. And then a strong arm's a little slimmer and looks more like an actual firearm, although it's a revolver pistol thing. Anyway. Yes, we are watching drying paint because it's fun. And I have food. Dude, I really want to do a hand cannon mod at some point. I picked up an extra strong arm the other day, and so I want to say on my hunter file on Destiny, I've got a hand cannon that looks identical to a strong arm, and so I've honestly thought about painting it. I need some purple, red, and yellow paint, but it's got these really sweet lines on it, and it's very thin profile. So I've been thinking about that. I might end up doing that. You have an extra cyclone shock. Ooh. Hoo. That intrigues me. So I'm just checking on the pups. All right, it's almost dry, so I'm about to put another cut paint on. Let me just check it. The handles are drying perfectly, but for some reason these just got a weird look to it, which is not going on smoothly enough. So we're gonna need a couple more coats. Okay. So the plan is to leave all these alone now, so we can get the smoky beige paint on them. So I'm gonna move these onto here, separate them. Now, at this point, if you're watching thinking, wow, this is boring, yes, painting a blaster is somewhat boring, but at the same time, it is oddly satisfying. It's this satisfying feeling of going, ooh, I'm changing something, and I'm making it look exactly the way I want it. And to me, that's a fun thing. Okay. So what, this used to have a gray to it, and now it's got like this beautiful black finish. So part of me would be tempted to keep the whole thing black, but I'm not going to do that because that's boring and that's not fun. So we're going to go with smoky beige also because this color accepts the gray silver leaf paint I have, the one that makes it look like the wear and tear. This color accepts it so well, and I know the black will as well. So it's going to look like a really sweet submachine gun by the end of this. All right, let's get that fan on and dry them out. Yes, the hard truth of blaster painting can be extremely boring sometimes, but it's very satisfying. It's a very fun process. No, I've been trying to think, what was my first blaster I ever modified? Let me grab that really quick. And I'll talk you through that. No. So this was not the original color. I painted it. But I can't even remember the name of these blasters. It's the ECS something. Very fun blaster, very fun to spin and stuff. Took the air restrictor out. No, this was my first mod because I wanted a very simple pistol-based blaster. So I modded it. I originally had different colors than this, and then I went through and it was very sloppy and terrible. So I went through and fixed it. This was supposed to be like a Stormtrooper style blaster, but I was going for the Sand Trooper because the top here is a textured paint, and so it's got grit to it, so it feels like sand. So the goal is that it's like a Sand Trooper's blaster, and I thought it was pretty fun when I made it. It's got a really good top to it. Then after that one, I moved on to my Recon. So I worked on this Recon. I painted it all black. The paint didn't set well on many parts. There's still yellow showing up through there. And then I took a gray paint, and I didn't even have I wasn't using a clear coat base, or I thought I was, and it was actually a chalkboard clear base. So it didn't work. And so the paint, especially with the gray textured paint I added to, or detail work paint that I added to various parts of it, that's all coming off already because I didn't put a good clear coat on it. The other fun truth is I had to cut off the plunger retainer. Because after I took the air restrictor out of this blaster, I exploded through the plunger tube. So that was like my second mod, and I had already broken something. So I spent a couple days sawing this off and trying to figure out exactly how to work everything. I Gorilla Glued quarters into the inside of the plunger tube to remake the end of the plunger tube. Let that set a couple days, and now it works, but it doesn't shoot as hard. It makes a very odd sound, and I know if I dry fired it again, it would just shatter that. So I don't use this blaster often, but I had fun with it. I put like gray paint on it and would wipe it off, and it would get stuck in the crevices, and that was pretty fun for me. That was like the simplest, easiest mod, is just to put a little bit of paint on it and wipe it off. So that was fun. So those were my first two blasters I ever modded. Let's see, and then from there I went to this blaster again with textured paint. And the fun part of this blaster was people say this is so cool. I didn't do that. So that's a I can't even remember the brand anymore. But there was a paint that had a first coat and a second coat. And the first coat was the white, and then the second coat you put the red on it. And somehow the way the paint mixed, it mixed in a cracked pattern. And so it looks like a weathered, cracked, falling apart paint job. And it just looked sweet. And so this, to me, is my Destiny blaster. If any blaster I own is a Destiny blaster, it's this one. No, it doesn't shoot all that well anymore compared to like a Strong Arm or something like that. But it's incredibly a lot of fun, and I just enjoy working with it. This was the first one where I was working with a rotating cylinder type mod and figuring out how all those components fit together, because I was really intimidated by it at first, just because I was afraid I would put something in the wrong spot and mess all that up and it would fall apart on me. But it didn't. So that was cool. Let me put these up. Now let's see, where did I go from there? After I did those paint jobs, I then moved on. I had two Recons, so I moved on to the other Recon. Recon is a horribly performing blaster, but an incredible, a lot of fun as a kid having this one, because you feel like a sniper, because you've got this. You had attachments you would put on it as well, but you had the barrel attachment, that severely cuts down on the performance, and it performs terribly with that on it. But it was cool as a kid being like, "Ooh, I'm a sniper." And so I love this blaster. Again, I had this really cool paint I found. It didn't set properly at all because I didn't have a good clear coat at the time that I was using. And so with this blaster, I did a black start. I put on that textured paint again. So it's got like a a gravelly type feel to it. And then this, honestly, it feels like a Dude Perfect blaster. The moment I painted it, stepped back and looked at it, I was like, I just made a Dude Perfect blaster. And I put some stripes on it because I thought that would be fun. And it is. It's a very fun blaster. I think this was the blaster I used in the sniper video against that water bottle, the one that was hiding up on my roof, the one that's constantly in my shed. I think Commander Water Bottle is the name my little brother came up with. If you can think of a better name for that water bottle, please give it to me. But for right now, he is Commander Water Bottle. I thought about doing a stock like this because I've got another Recon stock and painting that up for the Arctic, because right now it's like this weird in-between pseudo-primary, because it is a primary blaster. However, it doesn't look like it because it's not a full stock. It's not a full rifle. It's more like a small little submachine gun you're running around with. Yeah. All right, I think that's just about dry, so I'm going to go ahead and throw another coat of this on it. So again, we're doing a smoky beige for all the accessory parts. So the grips, the pump handle, the tactical rail at the top, all those are going to get the smoky beige because it accepts the silvery weathering paint very well, and it looks pretty sweet. So we're going to be putting that on there. And then the main blaster is still going to have the black on it that's going to have the silver treatment on it. And the problem is, the closer we get to putting it together, yeah, it's going to look not like a real firearm because it doesn't, but it could be misconstrued by law enforcement as a firearm. And so this wouldn't necessarily be a blaster I'd use outside all that often. It's more like that really sweet secondary sidearm you've got on your back to throw out. But it is still going to have the purpley pink barrel. And so hopefully that's enough. I mean, that makes it look not at all like a real firearm. That's the goal with that. Trying to do lighter coats on it because those set a lot faster. All right, so we're still looking at, I believe Let's Freeze It has the name of The Leg, or The Leg of the Future. Is that still the name we're going with? Overkill? I feel like we'd have to name it Scarlet Overkill from Despicable Me Minions, whatever that one was. Overkill. So I've just got that light glaring at you there. Oh man, where are my manners? I'm not letting you watch the paint dry. What a sad existence I'm giving to you. Here you go. I'll let you guys watch it for me. I'll finish my burger and I'll be back in 2 seconds. Actually, more than 2 seconds. That wasn't that enlightening. Oh yeah, that white does look really sweet. Because originally I was just gonna get a white, and then but that one's like a beige, and they call it the smoky beige. And it dries in this beautiful color. Because let's see, the Arctic, that one was done. All of these parts are smoky beige, and so they dry with this. Once you put the metallic on it, it looks like it's a metallic color to begin with, and it's pretty sweet. Are there any fake plastic screws? No, I don't believe so. Those are kind of ridiculous. Which one? Like the Mavericks always have those, the giant like painted on screw thingies. I don't think this one has any. ¿Por qué? Anyway. I know this will be surpassed because already, don't tell them I said this, but already my Strife does shoot a whole lot better than the Modulus. Mainly because it's just, it's a lot of plastic. And so when you're shooting it, you can tell it's just moving a lot of plastic. Whereas the Strife is just such a compact setup that just flies. It's so much fun to use. I need to lube up my Strife, actually. Not at the moment, but in general. We have 3 viewers. Oh my goodness. Because I've had the solid 2 the whole time, and then we'll have the 3rd that jumps every once in a while. Who do we have as our 3rd jumping on our viewer person? You can comment below if you want. If you don't want to, that's okay. We can stay friends. But yes, I'm a very lucky man who has a wife that brings him burgers. Okay. Okay. So I've been thinking through some game types recently because I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. Because I've, made a couple really fun attack and defend game types, and then I've made a couple pretty cool. When I made the bomb squad, I think was one of the last game types I made. And then the other day I found a game type called Trouble in Terrace Town, which is essentially Mafia, but with Nerf blasters. And so I'm really excited to use that soon. It's like you hand out the cards. A couple of the cards are traders, and then everyone else is a bystander. And then there's generally going to be one detective, and the one detective everyone knows is innocent. So most likely the traders are going to aim to take out the detective pretty fast, and the bystanders are going to try to team up with the detective. And so it's a game of trickery and deception, of people walking around going, "Hey, what team are you on?" And so it's very similar to a team deathmatch, except nobody knows who's on their team, and the traders are usually fewer than the bystanders. So it's essentially Mafia, but with Nerf blasters, and you're moving around the environment. And so it's a pretty fun game type. I've been watching a lot of videos where people play that type. So I'm very excited to Excuse me, sorry, hiccups. So I'm very excited to do that style at my next game. If you've got any other game types you would suggest, bring it. Because, yay, my little bro's watching. How's it going, Luke? Good to see you, man. So comment below if you've got any other game types you think I should try at the next war. We have a fourth person now. Whoa, aren't we cool? And so, you know, there's team deathmatch. There's going to be a free-for-all. You know, there's the search and destroy, capture the flag, this Trouble in Terrorist Town game. I'm even thinking of doing a PUBG-style event. I'm thinking about that because PUBG is very similar to Fortnite. I prefer PUBG to Fortnite. Don't hate me for it. Just because Fortnite I'm terrible at. PUBG I won my second game playing, and I was like, oh, I'm good at this. And so I'm thinking of doing like a PUBG styled game where everyone's in teams of twos because it's more fun to me anyway. The one like the Hunger Games style games are always fun, but it's also fun to do squad games. So you'd be in teams of two, and I would scatter blasters throughout the map. And so you've got to back each other up. If you get hit in the chest, you're out. If you're hit in the arm or the leg, your teammate can revive you if they touch you for 10 seconds. So those are just some game types I'm thinking through for this Nerf and Turf event I'm doing on May 26th in Arlington. Because I've got an event page for that on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, check that out and mark going. If you're not on Facebook, I can, you know, if your parents on Facebook, you can use that. Or if you're not on Facebook at all, that's cool. And you can just comment below and say, hey, I'm planning to come. And like, don't comment on this, but like, if you want to comment now, you can. But like on another, I'll probably do a video right beforehand, or I'll do a video going over the rules and the different game styles I'm going to do at the Nerf and Turf event. And then on that, you would probably comment below, hey, I'm coming, and I would give you more details. That's if you don't have Facebook, because on Facebook, I've got a lot of the details already on the page for it. Okay, so I've got a great habit of forgetting to turn my fan on while the paint's drying. So I know my little bro has joined us. What's up, Luke? Good to see you. So what's happening is I've got a Nerf Rebel blaster that's a girly blaster that just looked terrible. And I painted the base of it black. And then I've got a smoky beige color that looks very white-ish on all the accessory components. So that way it doesn't look like a firearm, because if it was all black, it would look weird, or it could look like a firearm. And I'm also keeping the barrel is bright pink and the tip orange so that it looks ridiculous, because the whole blaster used to be about this color. And it looked terrible. I mean, agree with me if you think it looked terrible. If you like the way it looked, cool. You can have that opinion. It's a false opinion, but you can like that opinion. But I'm going to keep all the bright colors on this and the trigger, because I just feel like that'll look pretty cool. And I don't want to get shot at. That's like a big thing. I don't want to be shot at by law enforcement by making it look like I have a firearm. It's a personal preference thing there. Yeah. So the main body, shell, and frame of a blaster, the black part, it's drawing very interestingly. It could be I'm at the end of that spray can bottle, but you know, it's clumping. It's got streaks, so I'm gonna put a couple more coats on that to help that. No, doesn't that look super sweet? Like, I would honestly love to paint my blaster entirely this, but I don't want to get shot at. And so I like to have a couple components look like this, just because the matte black has a sweet, sweet finish to it. So I'm going to put a couple more coats of this black on it. So most likely I won't be finishing the blaster in this video tonight, but I'll show you the finished product soon. But I'll get as close as I can to finish it. sand it down before the next coat. Never tried that before. Is that a tactic that I'm being thrown at from Let's Freeze It? But wouldn't that just destroy the paint job, or is that just going to make it flat so the next one fits on very smoothly? I'm taking advice. Give it to me. Let's freeze it. Find sandpaper. Wet sanding. I've never done wet sanding before. Do I just, like, you know, take water and make it wet? I have water. Honestly, the paint hasn't dried fully yet. Like, I touched it a second ago and I got my fingerprint on it. Okay, let's give it a shot. I'm trusting you. Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah, because it's just getting off the clumping bit. Oh, I'm seeing it, yeah. Because there's a couple clumps and a couple streaks, and this will get that off. And then with the next coat I put on, it'll clear off the areas where I've scraped the paint off. Hey, good call. I've never tried that before. Well, I think I'm doing it lightly. When am I going to post the video of the finished blaster? Good question. Today? Probably next week. Because, you know, college student finals week. I probably won't be posting it over the weekend unless I have time for that. But the hope is that I'll have it finished. Sweet, that's looking super sweet. And then I'll take my paper towel, just kind of wipe off all the residue so there's not like dust being collected when I put the next coat on it. All right, then I'll sand off that other shell. Because it does just have a really super sleek finish to it. Oh, I thank you for the good luck on my test thing. You know, I've already passed 3 this week. So next week I just got to pass 2 more. And then I'm 1 step closer. So we currently have 3 viewers. We keep jumping from 3 to 4 right now. So I'm just wondering who that random 4th person is who keeps going, oh, he makes weird faces, I'm leaving, and then randomly comes back. The world may never know just like how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. Okay. It's about good. All right. Now for the final coat. Those are drastically different guesstimations happening on how many licks. Usually it's about 15 for me because then I just bite it, and I consider that a lick. 3.5 Google. Nice. Cool. You know, that one's just about empty. So I'm going to jump to my full can. brand new can, so I gotta really shake it up to get it working. So the thing with the spray paint is if you read the back of it, it gives you fantastic numbers. It tells you how, you know, within about 5 minutes, it's dry to the touch. Within about 30 minutes, it's handleable. And then after 24 hours, it's fully set. And so my thing is, I like to wait till it's like closer to the 24 hours to actually put my secondary, the thing you call it, the silver leaf detail work that I plan to do. I'd like to do that, probably not today, just because I want the paint to fully set before I put that on, so I'm not smearing or smudging the actual paint on there, not adding my fingerprints and that kind of thing. So honestly, I'm probably going to put another coat on each of these, and then I might be calling it a night and then putting my clear coat on it pretty soon. Or the clear coat's going to go on after I put the detail work on it. So let's finish off this black. It's a brand new one, so I got to spray off the beginning. All right, then we'll get that fan on it to get the fumes out. Whew. No, but it's looking pretty good so far. Really liking the look of it. Yeah, but as much as I'd like to get it finished tonight, I don't think I will be, just because I'd like for it to, no, I don't want to rush it. I don't want to smudge it. I don't want to mess it up. You can't be tired. Is that the comment I am getting? Dude, I'm always tired. What is that? Is that from the Avengers movie where the Hulk, where he's like, what's your secret to holding your anger in? He's like, I'm always angry. That's me if I was a superhero. My superpower is being tired. I'm always tired. That'd be pretty terrible superpower. Okay. If you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be? Go. And it can't be the superpower that, like, to have all superpowers. That's cheating. We're looking at you, Superman. Fast. So, like, how fast? Are we talking, like, the Flash fast? Are we talking, like, Quicksilver? Are we talking, like, Dash from The Incredibles? Blah, blah, blah. Time travel. Man, that one always brings up so many interesting debates of, but then you would change the future. Would you go back and kill Hitler? That kind of thing. I see that. Fast so you can get homework done. At Isaiah. So what? Do we have an Isaiah joining us? That would be like a beautiful, wonderful thing. All right, so we're still waiting for that black to dry a little bit more. And then we'll add one more black, probably one more beige, and then we might be just about done. Sorry, I'm texting my wife back because that's a good thing to do, is responding to your wife. Because you only get one of those, so take care of them. So, confession time. I was dropping off paperwork at my school today in the faculty offices. I walk up to somebody, drop it off with them, and as I'm saying goodbye to this person, I said, hey, have a great, because my wife's really good at this. She always like tells people, hey, have a great day. So as I left, I went, hey, have a great Friday. And I walked off and I got halfway, and it was like on the 7th floor. So I'm walking, and I think about the 4th floor, I just kind of stopped and went, wait a minute. It's Thursday. Wow, I'm that tired. So, know what day it is when you're telling people have a nice day, or else they just give you a weird look, and then you're wondering why they're giving you that weird look for the next 3 flights of stairs you're walking down. It was pretty funny. Yeah, I definitely played myself. I was trying to be too nice, and I ruined it. That lady gave me the weirdest look, so hopefully I didn't ruin her Thursday by making her question herself and question, what is life? What is Thursday? What is Friday? Oh, that's looking so good. So I'm just going to put the one more on, and then I think I'm going to call it good with this. One more coat of black. Oh, I feel like that's a Shakespeare quote, or from Hamlet. The suits of solemn black. I feel like I gave that monologue once. Customary suits of solemn black, that's what it is. Do I have my next video planned? Kinda. One second. Kinda. I'm taking my youth, who've been in a small group with me for about a year now. I'm taking them all nerfing this weekend. And so the plan is I'm going to bring my video camera out, and we're going to get some good battle footage. So that's kind of the plan. It's not like an official video. It's not like I've done a lot of those before. So I'm trying that out, trying to get actual battle footage, hand my GoPro out to a couple people. So hopefully that's fun. So that's probably the next video I plan to work on. However, I did 2 reviews recently where I went through some of the Zombie Strike blasters. And so I did that, and I was like, okay, why don't I try to go through a couple more? So I'll go through a couple more series of blaster reviews, because those are really easy episodes to get out really fast. But yeah, the plan is to film my dudes having a Nerf war this weekend. And then after that, I'm starting to make plans to make an actual like story-based video that may or may not involve water bottles. But and so I'm thinking about that, of doing one where getting a couple, like more than just, my little brother was awesome in the last one, but getting a couple other people to be in it. So we have like a full cast, so I can mostly work on the filming, and that kind of thing. So that's the future plan. I don't have exact plans for that happening like in the next week, but once summer hits, I'll have a little bit more time. So I'm probably going to work on coordinating with some people and actually doing some more story elemented based videos that I can direct. So that'll be fun. Let's plan with that. And yeah, I also plan to do more of the reviews, because I'm also trying out some new things with my camera. I'm right now just using my MacBook. But I'm trying out new things with my, camera lenses. So a lot of my films have been weird recently because I'm trying to figure out focuses and angles and lighting and color. So I'm working on my editing skills with that. Yeah, but I've got a couple blasters from each series that Nerf has made. And so I plan to do kind of that and kind of do a comparison between the different series that they've done, because they've got their modular series. They've got their just the in-strike. I guess that's what they call it. Yeah, the elite, or just elite blasters, I guess. Probably do one on just the elite blasters. Yes, I did just go turn on that thing because it's hot in here and I need to dry the blasters. But yeah, that kind of thing. And then, no, I've only got one blaster from the Doomlands series. But then I've got a couple megas and that kind of thing. So I plan to do that kind of review because I was learning that's a really, I don't know if I should use the word easy, but it was for me, it was a very easy video to make because I know enough about my blaster, so I was able to talk about it, explain why I like it, explain when I use it, and then just do a quick firing demo. So I was really thinking that's a very easy, effective, and efficient ways to get videos out. Although the story-based ones are always more fun, they take a lot more film time and a lot more work, and they take more people. Because the first water bottle video I made, what did I call it? The War of the Nerf&Turf. It was silly. It was just silly. Because when you make one by yourself, it's just got a very there's not much you can do when it's just you and a story elemented thing like that. And so, but as I said, the plan is over the summer to get some friends together and get a pretty cool movie going that I'll probably direct. So cha-cha-cha. That's kind of the plan. Yeah. Hope that answered your question. So I'm going to spray. I'd love to see. No, I'm legitimately thinking, because that was a really silly thing I did with the bottles, but I'm honestly legitimately thinking I do a fun plot with that. Still in the works on the exact story, but I was like, hey, I could make a whole lore of the Battle of the Bottles. So that'll be fun. But no, I appreciate that feedback because I thought about doing that, but I didn't think if people would think that was way too silly, or if it's fun to take a very silly concept and actually try to make it somewhat deep, somewhat interesting. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, I'm terrible at remembering to turn that fan on when I step away from it. That would be fun. Running out of paint this one. Okay. And the black one's looking sweet, very smooth, very thankful to Let's Freeze It for his information. No, that does sound pretty sweet. That's probably, that's a fantastic idea. I've been thinking about throwing that around, but I didn't know how interested anyone would be in that. So yeah, I'll definitely start like writing scripts and screenplays for that kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm probably gonna, no, I won't breathe in the paint. I'm probably about to call it a night. I'll go ahead and talk you through the next couple steps I would have because it's almost 10 o'clock and I want to go see my wife and watch a movie with her because I like my wife. And so I'll talk you through the next couple steps. So now that let's just talk through the whole thing again. Got the blaster. I sanded it down. I got the logos off for the most part because it's just kind of cheesy to have logos on a painted blaster sometimes. Sometimes you like the logos, sometimes you don't. And so sanded it all down, took it apart. I've got all the internals here in a bucket, including all the screws, so that way I don't lose anything. And then I took my blasters. I put a black primer coat on the inside of everything just so it didn't still have the pink white color nonsense to it. So I put the black on the inside. I then flipped it all over, put a black on the top, so it was a nice, good bond on it. And then after that, I did the different colors. And on that one, and Caden's idea was fantastic on that. I was able to take off the gritty and the clumpingness, and it just dried beautifully. Let me turn that fan on. I keep forgetting. And then we put the two different colors on the different parts just to have the different aesthetic. I made sure to keep brightly colored things on it so that I don't get shot, because that's important. And then the next steps are I'm going to let that dry for probably, I said 24. 24 is how long it takes to cure. I might honestly just wait 12 hours because then it's very dry to the touch. So when I touch it, I won't be getting fingerprints all over it. And once I do that, I'm then going to take this. I picked it up at Ace Hardware, but you can get something more, much more official called Rub and Buff. I got something called Silver Liquid Leaf, and it's like a silver finish. And so what I'm going to do is take this, pour it on a paper towel, and then dab another paper towel in that, and then take the blaster, take the parts. I'm probably going to piece the handles together and then piece the body together, and then take that and just swipe it over it to make it look like, I've used it as a gun. It was once brand new, and now I've fallen, I've crashed, it's hit things, and it looks like it's been scuffed up. So that's the goal. So it'll look like a pretty sweet submachine gun by the end of it. I'm then going to take some petroleum jelly, or Vaseline as most people call it, and lube up the blaster. Not all of it, not the externals or anything, but all the internals, all the triggers and everything, just to make sure everything is running very smoothly. And then I'm going to take a matte clear enamel. Now, some people use the matte, some people use the glossy. So what it does is it puts a finish on it. It protects the paint so that when you touch it, it doesn't rub off. When you smudge it, it doesn't take details or stuff out. And so it's just an extra clear paint that holds it all together. So I use matte because it looks flat, and I just love that look on a firearm. Or it's not a fire, it's a blaster. But that's the look you would have on a lot of firearms. And so I like to replicate that aspect of firearm aesthetic in my blasters. But some people like a glossy finish, and what that does is it makes it very shiny, and it makes it look very, very much like what Nerf does, how it's got a shine to it. It's reflecting stuff. And so it looks very toy-esque. And I love that look too, but that's not the look I go for with most of the blasters I mod. If I wanted that, I would just buy the Nerf brand. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, both Luke and Rockbone11, and then Let's Freeze It, who had to step off. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that, man. Yeah, I've been planning to do that. Even if it was just 2 or 3 people at a time watching, that was fun. I really enjoyed that. I had a pretty rough day with homework, so I just really enjoyed getting to do what I love, which is working on Nerf and getting to share it with you guys. So thanks you guys so much for watching. I say it every time, but I really do mean it. Get on out there and Nerf your turf, but truly I mean it. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed week. Bye-bye, everybody.